This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to Brazilian reality, present or future, and the cosmic events narrated here will not be mere coincidence.
For years, it was just a distant point in space. Monitored by telescopes and precise calculations, the prediction was clear. Its passage near Earth was scheduled for September 2027. Then something unexpected happened. Its trajectory was altered by a collision in the asteroid belt.
There's something moving between Mars and Jupiter. It's an asteroid, and it's heading towards Earth.
A colossal asteroid on a collision course with our planet. Its size, 11 kilometers in length. Speed, 16 kilometers per second. Estimated weight, 50 billion tons. Its name, Gog.
It was like a cosmic billiards game. A collision in the asteroid belt altered its trajectory, and now it's heading straight toward us.
The media wasted no time spreading the news.
The asteroid is on a collision course with Earth.
Named Gog, it's as large as 110 football stadiums, and it's bigger than Mount Everest.
NASA is on alert. Governments around the world are meeting to discuss strategies against the imminent threat.
In the streets, collective hysteria took over. Supermarkets were raided. Financial systems began to collapse. Looting and protests became common scenes, and people worldwide tried to withdraw as much money as possible. Governments declared states of emergency, but the chaos already seemed uncontrollable. World leaders tried to maintain order, but public trust vanished day by day. The planet, once divided by borders, was now united by a common feeling: fear. Governments united. Scientists from all nations formed an unprecedented coalition.
We will attempt to deflect the asteroid with rockets loaded with hundreds of nuclear warheads. Participating in the mission are the United States with NASA, China with CMSA, Russia with Roscosmos, India with ISRO, and the European Union with ESA.
Only one spacecraft will be crewed, the SpaceX vessel, transporting 7 carefully selected astronauts.
7 heroes, representing humanity's hope.
True, if it's to save the world, I'm in.
The Icarus project, created in 1967 to defend Earth from cosmic threats, has been reactivated.
All launches will be guided by artificial intelligence, ensuring maximum precision. They will be equipped with 4,000 nuclear warheads to attempt to deflect the asteroid.
All spacecraft were fueled with liquid hydrogen, or LH2, the most advanced fuel currently available. Its unparalleled efficiency guarantees the speed and precision necessary to intercept the asteroid in time.
We're not heroes. We'll just do what needs to be done. We're prepared for everything, including not coming back.
This is the most important mission in the history of humanity.
This mission is not about countries. It is about saving our planet.
United for the survival of humanity, we will face this challenge.
This is a fight for the entire Earth, and we stand together for a better future.
On board the spacecraft were the brightest minds and the bravest hearts of humanity. The giant rockets tore through the skies, carrying with them humanity's last hope. The 7 astronauts boarded the SpaceX, the only manned spacecraft. 2 months later, the spacecraft reached their destination, the asteroid Gog. The unmanned rockets were adjusted to detonate at the predetermined location. The asteroid sighed. The warheads detonated. Fate Earth anxiously awaited the outcome, but what came was devastating news.
The mission failed.
nuclear warheads were not enough to deflect the asteroid. Instead, it split into two, following a deadly path toward the planet. The clock began to tick. As the asteroid approached, the calculations became more precise.
With the split into two, the smaller fragments will fall on North America in the first week of September 2027. 2 weeks later, the larger piece, about 5 kilometers in size, will hit Italy. The impacts won't occur head-on, but almost from behind during Earth's orbital motion. It's like one car sideswiping another on the same road. This will reduce the impact energy, avoiding a mass extinction event like the one during the age of the dinosaurs.
The smaller fragments were the first to arrive. Impregnated with radioactive particles from the nuclear explosion, they fell on the United States, spreading contamination and terror on an unprecedented scale. The larger piece of the asteroid arrived 16 days later. Small in the universe, but devastating to Earth.
L'asteroide ha appena colpito il territorio italiano e
When it struck Italy near the Vatican, the impact created a crater nearly 17 kilometers in diameter. All of Europe and part of Asia felt the force of the impact. The shockwave swept across the continent, causing mass destruction. But the terror didn't stop there. A gigantic cloud of dust rose from the crater, darkening the sky. Driven by Earth's rotation, it quickly spread across the northern hemisphere. For months, the dust blocked sunlight, plunging half the planet into glacial darkness. Entire crops withered under the extreme cold, worsening the crisis spreading across the northern hemisphere. Famine spread. Entire nations faced collapse. And so began the exodus. Europeans and Americans fled devastated lands in search of survival in a country untouched by the disaster, once known as the breadbasket of the world, Brazil. The survivors believed they had found a refuge, a safe place to start over. But they soon discovered that the reality was very different. What they found was a country ruled by a kleptocracy. The political system was ironically called a relative democracy, but in reality it was nothing more than a disguised dictatorship. The federal government plundered its own citizens with a myriad of taxes. The foreigners were catalogued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, MRE, sarcastically nicknamed the Ministry of Revenue Exploitation. For the newcomers, it was a harsh reality check. There was no easy salvation in Brazil. The president, he was a clone. In truth, he was merely a puppet of the judiciary. The real rulers of the country were the Supreme Federal Court, which dictated the rules and brought the nation to its knees. In Congress, opposition politicians were persecuted by the judiciary. Politicians who dared to criticize the system were placed under the fake news inquiry. As a result, intimidated, the main opposition leader was imprisoned. Acusado de espalhar desinformação contra o sistema eleitoral. Criticar o governo ou o judiciário agora era crime punido com prisão. The Supreme Federal Police, under the judiciary's command, conducted constant raids on the homes of those who dared to criticize the government. They were labeled as far-right extremists. The traditional media, bought with millions in state funds, was nothing more than a government propaganda machine. Judges had the highest salaries in the country. They forgave the debts of corrupt companies and sold rulings to billionaire entrepreneurs. Social media platforms were monitored by the Ministry of Truth. A população, embora tivesse acesso a plataformas sociais como o X, tinha medo de criticar. A internet estava regulada. Comentários negativos eram constantemente monitorados pelo governo. Dinheiro físico não havia. Os brasileiros eram obrigados a usar uma moeda digital chamada Drax. Através dela, o governo controlava todas as movimentações financeiras. Enquanto isso, as ruas estavam mergulhadas na miséria. Nas periferias, o caos reinava. The corrupt judiciary prohibited the police from entering the slums. Com isso, o crime organizado tomava o controle, com seus tentáculos infiltrados nas principais cidades do país. Nas cidades, filas imensas nos serviços sociais. Pessoas morriam nas filas de hospitais. Por todo Across the country, construction projects were abandoned. Cada assinatura era um suborno. Cada contrato, um político comprado. With the arrival of foreigners, the corrupt government auctioned off the country's largest companies. Sectors like energy, oil and steel were sold to the highest bidder. Ao melhor pagador. Agora, os estrangeiros controlavam os pilares da economia brasileira. Para eles, era uma oportunidade. O Brasil era o paraíso dos lucros. Meanwhile, for Brazilians, their country was being sold off in plain sight, a olhos vistos. O Brasil prometeu salvação, mas aos poucos perdeu sua identidade. Sob a influência estrangeira e o poder do judiciário corrupto, até o nome do país foi alterado. Now it was called Brazil, com Z, um símbolo de submissão e controle externo. Enquanto o resto do mundo começava a se recuperar das consequências do asteroide, um país afundava ainda mais em corrupção e desigualdade. Uma nova ordem mundial havia começado. Enquanto isso, a Terra continuou girando, indiferente ao que havia ocorrido e ao que estava acontecendo em sua superfície.